Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be taking a look at the Solitaire expansion Alone in the Mountains for the game 85 Afghanistan Graveyard of Empires from Mark H. Walker and Flying Pig Games. So I'm going to do a kind of a quick first look type look at what you get inside this box here, and then we'll do some setup and playthrough, and this will be a multi-part video series since I like to keep things a little shorter. So let's get this underway here. I have not yet ripped the shrink off of this. So this is the back of the box, as you might suspect. And it's got a very short description. Alone in the Mountains is a solitaire expansion for 85 Graveyard of Empires, utilizing an updated version of the same solitaire system used in Night of Man and 65 squad battles. Alone in the Mountains is a complete expansion with a full sheet of counters, a new mountain map rules, solitaire action cards, player aid cards, and 6 new solitaire scenarios for playing Graveyard of Empire Solitaire. As you can see here, the ages are 14 and up. It is one player, as you would expect, for a solitaire expansion. And in typical Mark Walker fashion, the playing time is 56 to 123 minutes. So we've got the components here, and we'll take a look at that when we get into the box, of course. We do get one map, one additional thick, large 2 millimeter by 1 inch sheet of counters, 4 full color rules and scenario book, 27 solitaire action cards to drive the action, and 2 player aid cards to keep the game moving. So let's take a look and see what's inside this box. Okay, so let's open the box. As promised, you've got cards, the number 27 there. It does say 27 cards. These are those cards, solitaire cards. We'll look at those in a moment. Here is the rules and scenarios. So as you can see, this is not a thin rule book. It goes 26 pages. Of course, there are scenarios in here. The rules themselves look to take about 11 pages. The example of play starts on 12, scenarios on 14. So you got about 11 pages or so of rules, paragraphs 25, index on 26. Won't really go through the rules very much. If you've played Alone in the Jungle or Alone in the Dark, which were the expansions mentioned on the back of the box from Night of Man and 65 squad battles, you would be familiar with this. This is pretty similar. The rules are the second iteration of the Alone in system rules, first published in 65 squad level combat in the jungles of Vietnam. And you can see the colors, the color coding shows you what's new. Right, so probably fairly similar. You have mystery markers, so you don't know exactly what enemy unit is underneath there. And then you've got crises. And here's the example of play. And the scenarios, which there are, I think, 6. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then these are paragraphs that go with your kind of stories. And there's the index on the back. So that's the rule book. And we have our player aid cards that explain the AI card. So this is an AI card that tells you what the enemy is doing in that scenario. These are the various counters that are specific to this expansion. Then you have solitaire reminders, one on that side. Solo bot decision matrix, so it tells you how to make your decisions for the enemy. And on this side, you have your random events depending on which side you're playing. All right, counter sheet as promised. Now, obviously, there are counters that are specific to the solitaire game. That would be these right here, mostly. And then you have some additional units and support weapons, which are also something specific to the solitaire game. As well as these guys here. We get a few more ops complete and fired markers with of course, shaken and moved and so forth on the back. And then we've got artillery counters. These pop out real quick, real easy, I should say. And yeah, the big, chunky, nice counters that always come with Flying Pig games. And you get an additional map, which is always cool. So this would be one more map that's similar to that in the base game, and obviously can be used with the base game. We have we have some water here and a bridge across it, and you have elevation and some trees and some fields and so on. So, and a building here and here. So you got some nice varied terrain on this map. All right, a quick look at the cards. So as was mentioned, there are 27 of these. So approximately half the size of a deck of playing cards. And as we saw in the back of the box, not the back of the box, the rule book, various areas on each card with also symbology and colors that indicate specific actions for the AI, which units are activated. All right. So there you have it. That is a look at the components of this. Now let's take a look at setup and set up one of the scenarios, and then we'll do, probably in the second part, we'll do the actual playthrough. Okay, so one thing I should note right off the bat is that I had this upside down when I was looking at it. This is map 9. So we've got it oriented correctly. You can see that the letters, hopefully you can see that the hex indicator, the hex identifiers, G4, that's right side up. So this would obviously be the correct orientation. Of course, these are geomorphic, so you can put them in whatever form you need. And so anyway, we will be playing scenario 1. Now, just like the other games in this series, the Solitaire kind of tells a story. So there are 6 scenarios, as we saw in the book, and we play through those 6 in order, and they tell a story. So this first one is a peaceful place, and it says, we were patrolling the Punjab Valley, one of the most beautiful places in this country of sand and rock. It would be poetic to say most beautiful, but also one of the most deadly, but that is the stuff for writers. It mattered not to us what was more or less deadly. You could be in the most peaceful place in the world, but one bullet would end your life. Today, however, there would be more than one bullet. This is a 6-turn scenario. The turn ends when the second end turn is drawn. So for setup, we have to place crises line of sight A. So we have crises markers here, right? And if it has an occupied side and a line of sight side, and that determines what activates it. So when it's on its line of sight side, you have to get line of sight to it, as you would kind of figure out. It's pretty easy to understand that. Once that happens, there's text in the scenario that you read to tell you what actually is happening there. So this goes in 9, which is the map number F2. So we find F and go to 2, and it's right here, and we put our line of sight crises A in there. The Soviet player enters hex C6, which is right here, on turn 1, 4 rifles with intensive fire. So that would be these guys right here. You can see the symbol here in the middle on the bottom. That is the intensive fire symbol. So there we get 4 of these. We are playing as the Soviets, and there are scenarios where you will play as the Mujahideen, but in this case we are playing as the Soviets. They will enter on turn 1 in C6. So I'm going to just place those right there for now, and we get more. We also get 1 RPK 74, which is this guy right here. Glukov, which is one of the leaders. Here's Glukov. So he has the ability to, you see there in the middle, or power, I guess I should say. That is the mortar power that he has there in the bottom center. So we'll put Glukov there. Now the Mujahideen are run by the solo bot. So this is a fairly small scenario, I guess. We've got 5 units and 1 leader. The Mujahideen will get mystery markers, which are referred to in the rules as MM, and they look like this. Okay, so I'm going to place these in an opaque cup and draw them out. So I'm going to shake this up. And I'm going to draw out 4 of them. And I'm going to try to keep them on their non-revealed side. So you can do that by feel because the top is the revealed side and it's got rounded sides on it. So here's 1, and we're going to put this in C2, which is up here. Then we get another one. Whoops, dropped it. This one goes in E2, which is here. The third one goes in J2, which is all the way over here. And the fourth goes in G1. So G1 is all the way up here. Okay. So the next thing you do is you put 4 rifle intensive fire for the Afghans. So we have 4 of those right here. They have the same symbol. So we have these 4. Put them in the cup. And we also put in there 2 RPDs, which would be these guys right here. 2 2X. So that's these markers. These are all solitaire. Well, the RPDs and these 2X are solitaire specific. 1 random event, which is this guy. And that's it. So that goes in our draw cup. And then once we get to where we're looking at mystery markers, we would draw from the cup. So in theory, there are 4, 6, 8, 9 counters in here. And that will determine what these turn into when we get within range of them. They do move on their own, but you don't know what they are yet. So we'll see what we end up drawing here on our first attack. So the initial stance for the defender, for the AI, is defensive, and their change stance condition is never. So there is a designated scenario designated event given RPD or RPG if a Soviet vehicle is on the map to the southwest to the Mujahideen rifle unit closest to a Soviet unit. If no rifle units have been revealed, make note of this random event and give the special weapon, squad weapon, sorry, SW. I had Southwest in my head. That's a squad weapon. That would be one of these guys, your RPD, right? Which again is a solitaire only counter. So you give the squad weapon to the first revealed rifle. Scenario designated reinforcement is an RPD team. Okay. So the RPD team is a regular counter, and that would be this one right here. Nearest Soviet occupied. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I think I was supposed to put these in there and not the RPD squad weapons. I'm pretty sure that goes with this. Because there are no... Why is the freaking autofocus not working? All right. Okay, I will fix that before we start play. Objective for the AI is the nearest Soviet occupied hex to the currently activated unit. So if they are told to move, that would be the way they would move. Victory condition is to win, the Soviet player must eliminate all Mujahideen MM, so those are mystery markers, and units. Special scenario rules: Soviets have the initiative on the first turn. RPDs will always use spraying fire. Mujahideen units equipped with an RPG squad weapon will always target hittable Soviet vehicles when directed to fire. Eligible Mujahideen units with intensive fire will use the power if activated by a solitaire card with a triangle activation shape or the word adjacent. And the Soviet artillery is 3 high explosive factor. And reserve phase, Mujahideen units cannot move in the reserve phase. Soviet units move normally as per reserve phase movement rules. All right. So that is the setup for the scenario. So we will begin play here in part 2, which will come up in a few days probably. But for now, let me put my initiative marker out. We are on turn 6, and we'll count down. There we go. We are ready for play. So hope you got something out of this video. At the very least, this is a separate setup video. The next video will just get right into gameplay, and I would hope that you would have watched this, or at least the end of this, to get the scenario setup information because I don't want to have to repeat it. As I said, the second part is going to be right into gameplay. We'll start with the initial turn, and we're just gonna let it rip. So thanks again for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. Please feel free to comment, ask questions, etc. If you would consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing, that would always be appreciated by me. But even if not, I hope you'll come back and check out something down the road. So I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.